So we're going to look at the AL East first. Our favorite win total bet in the AL East. And again, we'll go division by division in terms of our favorite win total bets. AMags, I thought you were going to be on a Yankees over, but somebody else on this panel is on a Yankees over. Instead, you're taking out my team. I've been an Orioles fan since I was a kid. We're looking at an under of 88.5.
Yes, yeah, and I was going to take the Yankees over, and then I saw you were hosting the show, so I had to be up on the Orioles here. But yeah, Orioles under 88.5. Look, truthfully, with this, it just comes down to the pitching. You lost a guy that won 15 games last year. He led your team in multiple categories. ERA was under 3. It just was really a great season for Corbin Burnes that you don't re-sign him. Who do you put in the mix there? It's Charlie Morton, a guy that I think may really have some issues with that home run to fly ball rate. With the fences moving in Baltimore. And then you have a team that, behind him doesn't have a ton of depth. You're looking at a bunch of question marks, in my opinion, in Eflin and actually a guy like Seguro, I believe is how you say his name. Maybe Snyder can help me out with that a little better. But I just think question mark after question mark. The bullpen should be pretty good, but you know what? If you're going to rely on that bullpen heavily to win you games, I do not have a lot of confidence that down the stretch, everyone's going to be healthy and still kicking at the same rate. So I think 88.5, if you're getting near that 90 number, it's too much for me. And I do have to say, some of the projection systems I trust on this stuff more than some of my own eyes and stats I look at, they have them closer like 83, 82, somewhere in there. So I think that this number is pretty significantly off. I'll take the under.
Yeah, I didn't love, again, you guys are closer to this than I am, but because I am kind of an Orioles fan here, Nationals too, but grew up with the Orioles, it didn't feel like they had the best of off seasons, especially compared to some of these teams. Like the Yankees, Mike McClure, let's go there. I mean, obviously they lost Juan Soto, but, as the Yankees do, they're always reloading and reshuffling. You're looking at a win total with them.
Yeah, I'm going to go over on the Yankees, and it is correlated for me with the under on the Orioles. I love the under play from AMags on the Orioles. I have them at 85 wins, and I've got the Yankees at 95 wins. I was really kind of shocked to see this number sitting at 92.5. I really thought we'd be paying 94.5. It would be a spot where I'd want to stay away at that point. But I really think that's kind of the baseline for this team. When you talk about the talent, they have the upside to be a 101, 102 win kind of team. A down year, a bad year, they're going to be sitting 84 wins. I think I say that's a bad year, but that's their range, right? For me, it's between essentially 84 and 101. So for me, I think that Boston, while I am somewhat optimistic and could be sold on them, I do think that there's a big range of outcomes there. I think Tampa Bay is not going to be relevant at all. And I think Toronto is not going to be relevant at all. So I like the New York Yankees here in general, not only to go over this number 92.5, I do like them to win their division as well. Again, I thought this number should be 94.5.
Well, we'll get to the Red Sox in just a second. I do want to give the chat a shout out because I know this is like kind of an awkward time and most of you didn't even know this show was happening until earlier this afternoon, but you're in here. You probably got the SportsLine notifications turned on. Either way, Rick, Joe, CLE fan, Jeff Stenberg, of course, in here. M Squared coming off his take. We have G Squared, and he says, spring is in the air, let's go. And I do need to pay some homage to Mike McClure's comment about day baseball. I mean, this is the early edge. This is SportsLine. Like, we are back to day betting, and there's just not a lot of things that are more fun than that. And baseball is the gift that keeps on giving when it comes to that. Scott Kobe in here. Let's see. We've got AMags and Matt Sniper in the chat. So Sniper, talk to me about the Red Sox, because it does feel like when I look at off seasons, I mean, the Yankees always have a good off season, or at least so it appears. They're just spending money, right? And then we have the Orioles. Didn't look like they had a great off season. It did feel like the Red Sox had a good one. You like their win total over?
I do. I think the Red Sox are going to be a lot better than a lot of people think, and that seems to be a theme with this team. I remember last year I talked to Liam Hendricks, and he said one of the reasons he signed with the Red Sox was because they always seemed to punch above their weight. And sure enough, everybody had them finishing last place in the East last year, and they ended up 81-81. And now things are really rolling in the right direction with them. They finished 9th in the majors in runs scored. They added Alex Bregman. They're going to get a full season from Trevor Story. I'm sure that they hope they're going to get a full season from Tristan Casas at first base. They still have Jarren Duran, who took a huge step forward last year, All-Star Game MVP there. Not that that matters much. Rafael Devers actually felt like he should have been better last year. He's their centerpiece superstar. Offense is going to be really good, especially in that ballpark. The rotation has a lot of question marks, but a lot of upside there. Garrett Crochet, they traded for him. He was one of the best pitchers in baseball in the first half before the White Sox totally dialed him back in the second half, and he was bad anyway. We'll see how long he holds up, but he has a lot of talent. Tanner Houck became a frontline starter last year. Walker Buehler, terrible for almost all of the season last year, coming off Tommy John surgery, his second one, by the way. But his last few starts in the playoffs, he was great. He was great in the World Series. If he gets back to being the Walker Buehler of old, that's a big plus. Speaking of somebody maybe being their old self, Lucas Giolito coming back from missing all of last year. They've got a lot of upside in this rotation. They've got Hendricks at the back end of the bullpen, along with Aroldis Chapman, Garrett Whitlock back there. A lot of things to like about the Red Sox, so I'm over 86.5 wins.
AMags, you've got some follow-up here.
Yeah, no, I put it in the chat, but it's like honestly half the reason I like the under on the O's is like, you know, when you look at who's going to make the playoffs and really be competitive, I just think honestly the Red Sox are in a better spot right now, especially with that pitching Snyder just talked about. So you know, part of my pick with the O's was actually to take them to not make the playoffs because I think the Red Sox have a much better chance now.
Mike, you're just going in on the Yankees, aren't you? I mean, is anybody paying attention to the chat?
You said something, they got better in the offseason on paper, and I was counting up how many rings the Yankees have won on paper in the last decade, and it was like 8. But,
yeah. Oh, this is good stuff. Always want to be in the chat. You never know. Mike McClure is just lurking there, whether he's on the show or not. All right.